Okay, good morning. Right now, I'm going to continue some summary of introduction of respiration. I discussed already too much in the last class. Right now, I'm going to summarize all those stuff in a very capsulated form. So, as what I discussed, that is the respiration, respiration, that is a biological process, biological process, biological process, that is the biological process of oxidation, biological process of oxidation of nutrient, biological process, a biological process of oxygen of nutrients and yield ATP and form and also produce CO2 as a toxic waste. CO2 as a toxic waste. In plant respiration, you may discuss or you may know the full details of respiration. Right now, I am just focusing of some gaseous exchange or the mechanism of gaseous exchange during this class. Now, so this CO2 as a toxic waste must be removed, must be removed, must be removed from body, must be removed from body, and oxidation of nutrients require oxygen, oxygen for continuation of ETS, continuation of ETS. Without oxygen, ETS doesn't continue and therefore there is no production of ATP. This respiration is unique feature or respiration is the unique characteristics you can say that because it occurs in living organism, that is the both plants, animals, and in some microorganisms like bacteria or yeast. So that respiration is further classified. Respiration is of two types. On the basis of utilization of oxygen. So respiration is basically two types. One is anaerobic, another one is aerobic. And in ancient day, or even you may know too much information about the anaerobic and anaerobic in your textbook. So first thing is just basic concept about anaerobic and aerobic. in muscles, DPG in east. So these are the some name where the anaerobic respiration occurs. Like it also CO2 is also produced. CO2 is also produced. Again, ethyl alcohol, ATP yield is low. ATP yield is low. So it is very primitive type of respiration which develop in early stage of development, or you may notice that the first life onto this earth able to synthesize energy molecule without the presence of oxygen, or you can say that the life evolved in the absence of oxygen. So again, in aerobic respiration, simply here two events, that is the presence of oxygen and end product is CO2 and H2 along with ATP, and here ATP yield is maximum. So glucose is the substrate for the oxidation either aerobically or anaerobically in most of the organism. I am not saying all organism, but most of the organism, glucose acts as the substrate for the substrate for oxidation, for harnessing energy. That is the formation of ATP for the cellular processes. Either plant or animal, all they need ATP for their continuation of metabolism or the metabolic reactions. Now in aerobic respiration, here is two events. First is ventilation or exchange of respiratory gases, and second, cellular respiration. It is also called external respiration or internal respiration. Now further, this ventilation or exchange of gases occurs at two ways, that is either direct or indirect. Direct, that is from body surface to the environment, to the environment. That is the no involvement of respiratory, no involvement of respiratory organs. Here, it occurs in two processes, two ways. That is the first, between environment, exchange of respiratory gases, exchange of respiratory gases between environment and tissue, environment and fluid, that is the circulating fluid. And here, exchange of respiratory gases, between circulating fluid to the cell or tissue of the body. So these are the some schematic ways for the defining this respiration. Now here again, no involvement of respiratory organs, and in indirect, that is in both cases, that is the involvement of respiratory organ. Involvement of respiratory organs. So now, that is the respiratory organs. So now, respiratory organs. Development of respiratory organs basically depends upon first, that is habitat, and second, level of organization. Here, complexity of the respiratory organ, whether the respiratory organ is simple or whether the respiratory organ is complex, it is based upon the two important factors. One is habitat of the organism and the level of the organization of the organism, so that we can determine whether the respiratory organ is complex or the simple one. Now, some common example of respiratory organs or structure, like in aquatic organism, gill is the respiratory gill is the respiratory organ. As per example, like cola, and annelids, aquatic. Larva of damsel fly, that is an insect, aquatic insect. Early stage of tadpole larva of frog. So these all have gill, external gill is the respiratory organs. External gills is the respiratory organs. Amnicola, larva of damsel fly, early stage of the tadpole larva, have external gill as the respiratory organs. Gills actually very complex structure in aquatic organism. And basically those who are able to trap oxygen from water, basically. You know that the partial pressure or the availability of oxygen in water is very less, so that it requires more expenditure of energy for trapping or capturing molecules of oxygen. Therefore, the breathing rate in aquatic organism, basically those who have gills, is more compared to the terrestrial organism. That's it. Now, apart from these three, some other examples like mollusk, that is aquatic, also have gills. And again, late stage of tadpole larva also have gills, and here is the internal gill that is the present inside the body. So apart from this, fish also have gills, and aquatic insect like limulus have book gill. Prawn, crayfish, they have gills as the respiratory structure. So these are some names you have to memorize, because when you are going to solve a question, so these comes in your choices. So be careful. Now, next. In terrestrial mode, in terrestrial organism, lungs is the respiratory organ. Like, as for example, in insect, there is in insect trachea is the respiratory organ, that is the terrestrial. Again, in a scorpion, a spider, here is additional, that is the book lung. So these are the some names which you have to notice or remember, memorize the things, because that's very important. Now again, in earth wall, cuticle responsible for gaseous exchange. Cuticle responsible for gaseous exchange. In nares, parapodia is responsible for gaseous exchange. Parapodia is responsible for gaseous exchange. In frog, skin, buccal cavity, lungs and gills are the respiratory structure organs in different habitat and level of organization. Like in gills, there is the in larval stage, lungs, terrestrial, buccal cavity, also terrestrial, skin during hibernation and estivation. That is summer sleep and winter sleep. Hibernation and estivation is a very two important phenomena which occurs in frog, where the metabolic rate is very slow during hibernating condition and during estivation. Hibernation during winter season and estivation during summer season. They are going to reduce the metabolic effect due to the change in temperature. For enzymatic function, for the enzymatic function, the normal body temperature, the ambient body temperature is approximately near about 35 to 40 degree Celsius. So near about, if the temperature fluctuates between these variations 30 to 40 or 35 to 40, the metabolic effect of the ectotherm, these are the ectotherm, the metabolic effect of ectotherm is diminished, so that they are moving towards hibernation or estivation state. Okay. Now, so these are basically some respiratory structures which are associated with different organisms. Now, there is a very important thing. You know that the respiratory system are endodermally origin. Respiratory system are endodermally origin. So the respiratory system basically divided into two parts: upper respiratory and lower respiratory segment. So the respiratory system divided into two parts: upper respiratory system and lower respiratory system. Upper respiratory system comprises, upper respiratory system includes, that is the nostril and pharynx. Nostril and pharynx. Lower respiratory system include larynx, trachea, bronchi and lungs. Larynx, trachea, bronchi and lungs, and diaphragm also. And diaphragm. So these are the part of lower respiratory system and these are the part of upper respiratory system. So we have to move according to that. So in upper respiratory system, upper respiratory system, upper respiratory system. First of all, nostril, I can just go into a draw a diagram like that. So this is the human beings basically, and So nostril or external nares. This is the nasal cavity, nasal chamber, and here is internal nares, and this is the pharynx. This is the nasopharynx. You may say it is oropharynx, and this is the nasopharynx, and here is glottis. Here is glottis. This structure is Adam's apple. So, or you can say that voice box. And this is the prominent protuberance. This is the protuberance of thyroid cartilage. So, in upper respiratory system, we have to discuss nares, nostril. So, the main structure here, this is the nostril, external nostril. It is separated, septate, and finally, here is the part. It is that is the slit-like opening. Second, nasal chamber. Nasal chamber is long tube-like structure. Remains further differentiated. Nasal chamber is very long tube-like structure. Chamber, respiratory chamber, vestibular chamber, respiratory chamber, and olfactory chamber. All have the different roles, like respiratory chamber possess mucus gland, humidification of air, olfactory chamber, that is the detection of smell, vestibular chamber, that is the thermal conditioning, So all these chambers have the different roles. You know that the external air temperature or the environmental temperature is always different, or most of the time it is different from the body ambient temperature. So the air must be conditioned according to the body temperature. For the conditioning of body temperature, the air must be traveled in such a manner so that they are in close contact with the blood, so that the air either exchange and either gain heat or lose heat, and it comes up to, or it adjusts up to the body temperature. So now second here is that is this overall function of upper respiratory structure. Overall function of upper respiratory structure. First, that is the conditioning of temperature. Second, provide moisture to the air. Second, detection of smell, filtration of air. So these are the basic functions of the upper respiratory structure. Now after that, we have to notice that is the part of lower respiratory structure. Okay, so lower respiratory structure. So we just discuss one by one. The first is larynx or voice box. So here is this the entire structure. This entire structure is called voice box, or you can say that larynx. So larynx or voice box having Adam's apple, that is the consists from total 9 cartilage. Total 9 cartilage. So how such cartilages are arranged in this structure? So this is the voice box, and here is the arrangement of some. This is the protuberance of thyroid cartilage. This is actually Adam's apple. Now this structure. So voice box consists from 9 cartilage. All are hyaline in nature. All are mostly are hyaline in nature. Now 9 cartilage, that is the thyroid is unpaired C-shaped cartilage. Thyroid is unpaired C-shaped cartilage. That is the dorsally incomplete. So that's why it gives C-shaped structure. Dorsally incomplete. Now it also the protuberance is of thyroid It is present in both male and female, but more prominent in male due to presence of male compared to female. So why it is so? Due to the presence of testosterone. Now, so these are the some cartilage, thyroid. Again, second, that is the cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage. It is ring-like. It is ring-like structure. It is ring-like structure. Third one, it is unpaired. Third is corniculate, arytenoid. Pyramidal in shape. And large prominent cartilage. Large prominent cartilage, and it is paired cartilage. Fourth one, arytenoid, cricoid arytenoid, and this is the corniculate. Fifth one is cuneiform. Sixth one is epiglottis. So this is the again unpaired, and these two are paired. So basically these are the question section. This is the unpaired Adam's apple pair. So these three sections is the question section for the NEET point of view. Which one is the paired, which one is the unpaired, which one is the large, or which one gives rise to Adam's apple, which one is incomplete, which one is the complete. Now, so this is the basic concept of this lower respiratory structure. In voice box, there is another structure, that is the vocal cord. So, in this section, I am just going to give a little more here. So this is the right and this is the left, little narrower. So this is the right lungs, and here is, you have to like that. This is the shoulder, and in this a thoracic cavity. Now this structure further divisible into lobes. So here is right, left, first, second and third, and this is the first and second lobe. So these are the lobes, and here you may notice this is the this is the primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, and finally this is the alveoli. Finally this is the alveoli. So the same branching is present in this entire lungs, where the exchange of gases takes place. And here is one connection between this alveoli, that is the pore of cone. So these are this is the structure of the lungs, which is further encased by this cartilage, this ribs. So this is the again ribs. So ribs, this is the ribs, and here basic structure of lungs. Here is the place of this is the heart. And this is the cardiac notch. So this is the basic structure of lungs, or you can say that upper respiratory tube. This is the trachea, and it is present, means it is lined with cartilaginous ring. And this is basically a structure of a normal human respiratory system, where we discuss both upper and lower respiratory